Hey, everybody, good morning. The Coliseum and Era update dropped yesterday around 4 or 5 p.m. for me. There's a little bit of rockiness, some delays, some issues, some bugs. We're not going to spend any time really talking about those things just because, I mean, if you've never played a live service or a live updating game that hasn't had issues around a new patch, then I think that you're 9 years old and just haven't played any games at all. What I do want to talk about is the update itself, some initial feelings, Coliseum, the new era system, how leveling works, all that blah blah blah, and how I'm feeling after spending 12 hours kind of playing around with and toying around with the system. As always, if you find this stuff helpful, please, please, please subscribe to the channel. Help me out. So you'll be able to see my stuff a little bit easier. And if you don't find it helpful, then I guess just hit that little red X in the top corner because you'll be wasting the next half hour to 45 minutes of your time. So, with the new Era system update, I have to say that I am a little bit disappointed. And there's a lot of things going on here, and there is a lot to take in. We're not going to even deal with Coliseum or with the Eras yet. We are going to talk specifically about Relic Delta. And yes, I was part of that beta test. We did a lot of different things over the course of about 3 to 4 weeks, maybe longer. I don't know. Time passes very slowly when you're doing endless battles over and over and over and over and over again. But I do want to talk about the implementation of some things that we were promised and how that has worked out, and some feelings of that Supreme Daddy Egnards disappointment when it comes to the fact that none of this was really tested by that same team, or because we weren't given the opportunity to test those things. Now, first of all, going into our events tab and we see these assault battles that are currently running. We were told that assault battles would have their relic levels shifted to what amounted to the lower bounds of expectation for players to be able to beat them. And looking at Forest Moon right here at challenge tier 3, we'll load this battle up. I actually loaded it up this morning. It is a relic 3 battle at CT3. Loading up challenge tier 2. This is also CT3 or relic level 3. And I will save you the click on two things. It appears that all of the assault battles are the same in terms of their relic investment. I checked Robo Roundup this morning, and CT1 is relic level 1. Now, this is really disappointing to me, and I can sim them very easily, right? I don't have a problem here. I have them all done. But when we're thinking about the early to mid game, this is something that is going to kind of shutter the ability for those players to progress, just because when I first beat all of these things, predominantly my CT1s, I was able to do with zero relic investment at all, like literally zero relic investment. Sometimes gear 8, gear 9 characters attached to gear 12 characters. My challenge tiers 2 for most of these assault battles, the only two that I couldn't were the Inquisitor one and the Secrets and Shadows, which is the Night Sister one. I was able to complete all of these again with no relic investment, maybe one relic character on top of a bunch of G11 and G12 characters. My challenge tier 3, for the most part, if we're saying they all need to be the same and consistent across the board, I would say that CT3 is roughly even, but there are easier ones and there are harder ones. So, for example, Military Might, which is the CLS one, at CT3, I have seen this done with no relic investment at all. And I'm really, really, really feeling that frustration for those lower game players, those earlier game players who may have some trouble being able to do things like I was able to do in the future. Additionally, if we were to go into the journey guide and we were to pick any of the journeys right now that have a borrowed unit at the very end, right here, Bo-Katan is borrowed, these two are not. There is a relic disparity between the units that you are fighting, which tend to be relic 5 or higher. So in this case, it's relic 7 and the unit that you are playing as or having borrowed, right? And in this case, Bo-Katan is being borrowed at G13 Relic 0 and is dealing with a Relic Delta of 5. Now, I will say that many of us brought this to the attention of CG yesterday, and they are planning to fix this, so it is a known issue. But it is one of those unfortunate things when we talk about how Relic Delta was tested and the issues that we brought up and these new systems that they kind of thought about. And this was clearly a huge oversight. So, in that regard, I am a little bit disappointed. Now, GAC has not started running yet, but I did do some of my squad arena battles yesterday, and I noticed something interesting as well with Relic Delta, with my Pirate King Hondo Onaka team. There was, and let's see if it's still here somewhere. There was somebody running a Padme squad in Squad Arena yesterday, which I thought was very interesting. And I figured, hey, for some reason, I need to get wins, not battles with, but wins in Squad Arena in order to finish my quest for yesterday. This Padme squad should be really easy for my GL team. My GL team consisting of a Relic 9 Pirate King, a Relic 7 Captain Silvo, Brutus, and SM33, and a Relic 9 Vane. And I noticed that uh, against Padme, my team literally could not get through a Relic 8 General Kenobi. Could not do it. I watched them try for 5 minutes. I have seen in other game modes that this is not a hard battle. I do understand the implications of using assists and how the bonus protection works, but I know it is a team that is capable of beating that team. My damage dealers are existing at a relic delta of 1, and even though I've been assured that this has all been implemented correctly, I'm going to be honest, I am not fully convinced, and I'm wondering if other people are feeling the same way. The same thing with SLKR. I know that SLKR in Grand Arena can take out Pirate King Hondo. Generally takes about 4.5 minutes of your time, and it is a butt clench to not time out at the very end. But I also know that in those battles that it is generally not clean, and that not even 2 days ago, when it came to Squad Arena, I was able to set this team, press auto, and come back 2 to 3 minutes later to a beaten SLKR team. Now, in this instance, with a Relic Delta of 1, sometimes a Relic Delta of 2, my team literally cannot get past a Kylo Ren unmasked, and that is really frustrating given that it is a mixed relic team that is fairly solid, and I can't even kill one unit. So it is a little problematic to me. I do feel like that there are issues just on the Relic Delta side, and I am worried about Conquest and how that is going to be implicated in not the one coming up, because that is still the Stranger Conquest and we are not going to see Relic Delta there, but in the one after that, which would be the January Conquest. Are there other issues related to Relic Delta? I guess remains to be seen, but I think that that basically covers it. Now, onto Coliseum and the Era update. We have added to the game. Let me see if I can find it here on Discord. Uh, According to my sources who did all of the work for me, there are, let's look. Can we find it? something about Daddy Egnards. There are 19 new currencies added to the game. Now, Pico Burrito and I had joked about there being 6, but there are 19 new currencies being added to the game here. Now, technically, 17 of those are materials and 2 of those are currencies, but that technicality doesn't really matter when players are trying to learn new systems and understanding their place in the galaxy. uh, the systems itself, we go into this whole marquee system, right? Well, first of all, our era system here kind of shows all of our characters. As I level these characters up, I get little coins. These little coins that I'm getting in levels of 10, I can use 1,380 to get one R10 material. I need to level up 138 times to get one R10 material. I need to level up 500 times. 500 times to get a Lightspeed token. I'm really frustrated here because I was told that this would really significantly help players with their legacy roster, but this really means is, hey, you can skip the line, but you are going to be taking a long ass time doing that. Anyway, going through with the era system, right? We have this whole thing here and this whole thing here, and doing the marquees as we normally do, except now you're doing the marquee with like a level 6, a level 7, a level 8 character. Now, I spent more crystals on Stormtrooper Luke yesterday than I normally would on a marquee, literally just to unlock this tier to see what this looks like, right? And I'm using my level 8 Stormtrooper Luke with Princess Leia, and this is such a goddamn slog. Like, holy crap, the amount of time these tiers take. I happened to jump into Scribe's live stream yesterday, and I saw that at the higher levels, the Stormtrooper and Pied and whoever you're fighting, they end up getting to roughly around level 15 to level 20. It's kind of problematic to me because it kind of prices out the casual gamer, the casual spender, the moderate spender, who maybe is just spending on their, favorite character, their favorite iteration of a character. Uh, in the past, I have given CG a lot of credit when it comes to that monetization with my lemonade stand video and suggesting that getting a new marquee used to take about $300 to get them right away. And they had brought that price down to about $130, which was really, really nice. And I think now they've actually increased the price significantly because, one, there is reason to get those characters to 7 stars right away for Coliseum. 2, you now have to worry about whether or not you can even beat these tiers with your brand new character without, we'll go in over here, without also having to buy these materials as well from these era catches. Now, these are the level 1 to 15 catches, but there are a lot more of them for different levels. So now, when previously with the era system, I was able to go in there, I was able to level up my character, I was able to know for a fact that I would be able to get through tier 7 if I wanted to whale on a character. Now I am not so sure, especially with these events that do not last forever, right? They last for about a week, as they always have. I see the cost going up significantly, and it devalues my idea of whether or not I even want to spend towards those characters. Additionally, we have our Coliseum update here. We're not going to fully go through it. I was playing this on my phone yesterday. This is my first time on the PC update. I will say that graphically, super cool, like super neat. I'm going to get tired of it having to do this every time a new boss comes out, but that's fine. Coliseum completely misses the point. So I can't, I guess, go into a battle because once you go into a battle, you lose your attempt. There is no retry. You get 5 battles a day. You get up to 15 with refreshes. Once you've hit that button, that attempt is gone. But the way that Coliseum is going to work is that I am going to join with Stormtrooper Luke. I am going to be set into a battle with all of these characters, and I am basically told good luck. Actually, I will upgrade this guy a little bit, or once, and we'll just run the battle on auto for those of you who haven't done it yet, just so that you can kind of see what this looks like. Um, Coliseum's not fun. It's not interesting. There are a lot of problems that I have with Coliseum here. First and foremost, it kind of defeats the purpose of having fun. I am thrown into a system where I now have to learn 6 different kits, 5 different kits right now, in order to beat this boss. Normally in the game, a new character comes. I find out where they exist within the greater Star Wars galaxy of heroes, ecosphere, on his own. And they may not yet, but I have about 2 weeks to learn that kit until the next character comes to the game so that I can learn that kit and decide again, do these 2 characters work together? How do they work together? I have 2 weeks each time to learn this. Now I'm being thrown into an ecosphere where I am told, all right, you have 5 characters, learn how to use all 5 of them synergistically, which is kind of sucks when all of your characters are level, whatever level Stormtrooper Luke is, level 10, I think, right now, and they all have different abilities and uniques. I don't have the 45 minutes needed to learn those things. I am just hitting auto right now just for the sake of the battle to not waste my turn. This is problematic. This is time consuming. The battle itself may not take very long, but the structure of having to learn this thing does take a long time. It does not, as Marie Kondo would say, spark joy in me at all to kind of do this. It does not make me feel strong to watch my characters do 100 to 200 damage. It doesn't. It makes me feel like I've been set back in my 9-year-old roster at this point. I know that these bat bosses are going to be on a 1-day rotation of 4 different bosses. So tomorrow, having learned how to do this boss just a little bit, I'm going to have to learn a completely new boss. Now, what did I get? I got some kind of box that I gave me some stuff, I guess. Now, the other thing with Coliseum is that you either spend a lot of money to compete or you spend no money to do jack shit. You can look at the leaderboards. We can see at level 1, there are people who, I guess I can't even see who they've used, who are doing a very high amount of damage comparatively to me. Rank 69, nice. I have seen screenshots of some of the higher level spenders that I kind of play with and interact with and work with, who have already close to maxed out their Stormtrooper Luke on day 1. Let's look at these rewards. Right, the difference. This is where my whales are going to exist here. I'm not getting much for just being able to play the game or just being able to enjoy the game. And I exist in the system where my characters don't really do that much. It's not interesting. It's not fun. I don't expect for the system to coddle to me a lower end spender. I do not expect for whales and krakens to get the same level of rewards as I do. But I do expect to exist in a system where I can at least pretend that I can compete. And that is where GAC is really interesting, because in GAC, it doesn't feel like there is a level playing ground, but it does feel like there is so much back update and back system within the system that even if somebody has spent a lot of money, I can find a way around them. Here, I am constantly reminded that my educator's paycheck is not enough to play this game at the level that they want me to play at. Um, and that it kind of devalues my whole desire to play within that system, though I know that I am going to have to. Now, with this all said, the other issue here, and we have talked about this so much, is the time commitment. When we talk about new characters within an era, we talk about leveling them up. I come in here, I go to my level up system. It's pretty basic. It goes up to level 95, depending on the star level of the character. I believe 65 is the cap for the 3 stars, and for the lower level free to play players, I can essentially do one of these upgrades at a time. So I have this gameplay loop now where I need to level up the character, then go out here, then click on this thing and get my reward for that level. Then I have to go do the Coliseum or something else. Then I have to go back into that level up system. Then I have to click the button again to see if I got my level up again. Then I have to go back to wherever this is. Oh, let's see what I got. Then I have to go back to wherever I was in the era system to see if I can level them up again. Can I? Nope, I can't level them up again. Do I want to spend more crystals to level them up again? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. It's this back and forth system of leveling up this character, and it takes so much longer than when a new character came to the game in the past, and I could go to them and I could use the little slider down here to get them to level 85, and I could hit this button with no lag a bunch of times, which I already think there should have been a slider for. Um, Basically, what CG has done here with this system is they have taken the new player experience and they have said to players who have beaten the new player experience, hey, every 3 months, you have to do the new player experience again. Every 3 months, we're starting your account over again, and you have to exist in the very, very, very time consistent, the time constricted system of the new player. Isn't that fun? And the answer is no. It's not. It's not interesting. It's not fun. I'm over that. I don't want to do that anymore. There's a reason that I don't like playing alternate accounts. While Coliseum itself may only take 2 to 3 minutes per attempt, having this gameplay loop of having to go back and forth and back and forth and manage this and go back in and check if I have enough of this thing and then go back to that thing and make sure that my abilities are upgraded, it is time consuming. It is frustrating. It is not something that I want to deal with, and it is not something that most players want to deal with. You have basically taken a superhero and you have said, hey, we have taken away your powers, go save the world, right? And that's a frustrating worldview. That's a frustrating experience to have to deal with. When I was playing last night, I kind of likened this to back in my massive multiplayer days. I played Star Wars Galaxies, World of Warcraft, EverQuest, Final Fantasy 11, Final Fantasy 14, Star Wars: The Old Republic, whatever the Warhammer one was. I played a lot of MMOs. I was a nerd in college and post college. And you'd start your character at level 1, and you would gradually learn how that character plays as you got one ability at a time, and you were fighting, easier characters, easier bosses as you learn to use your abilities. And then you get a new ability and you would kind of like build that into the stack, and you'd understand how a character works. And then your friend who was a raider and they played a rogue, but you played a druid, they couldn't raid and they said, hey, can you jump on my account and do the raid with my character? Because I really need, Thunder Fury or whatever sword was big at the time. And you jump in and you say, sure, I'll do that solid for you. And now you're on a level 60 rogue and you've never played a level 60 rogue before. And you kind of just don't know what to do or what buttons to press. And you feel overwhelmed and you're here and you're there. And that's kind of how this feels with all of the different currencies and all of the different upgrades and all of the different moving things around and having to go back and forth. It's time consuming, and it is needlessly confusing for no reason. It does not, again, it does not spark joy. It is not interesting, and I feel very frustrated. We can talk about something like needing a mindset shift, and I've seen that wordplay used a lot in my Discord over the last 24 hours. Players need to have this mindset shift. And the reality is, no. In business, and again, I do own a business. I have been in business. I've had to deal with customers and clients, and basically what I've learned is that as a manager slash owner, I can have the greatest idea in the world, and I can say, hey, I want to do things this certain way because it makes the most sense. If my clients do not resonate with that, if they don't understand why the thing doesn't make sense or why the thing makes sense, and they are frustrated by that thing, they are going to leave. It doesn't matter if on the back end it truly does make sense. All that matters is the perception of the client or the person. Now, I think I have used this analogy before on the channel. I'm not 100% sure, but it kind of goes back. I think it was in the 80s. McDonald's has a quarter pounder. That is their flagship, sandwich outside of the Big Mac. And I believe it was A&W who released a third pounder uh, burger at the time, and it failed. And that burger failed predominantly because the consumer was terrible at fractions and didn't understand that a third a pound was actually bigger than a quarter of a pound. And they looked at the sandwich and said, well, now I'm paying the same or more and I'm getting less product. I'm not going to buy it. None of those things were true. All that mattered is what the consumer thought or how the consumer felt, and the sandwich failed. And that's kind of how I feel what is happening right now with this era system and how it's kind of playing out. To kind of go a little bit more into the system itself, something that I do very much like, something, and I will give CG credit for this, and I have given them a lot of credit already over the last week for this. The change here to relic materials and bringing Zimbittles and Electrium conductors to MK2 and bronzium wiring and carbonate circuit boards to MK1 is a very, very, very positive change. I will, however, say that as of right now, even at the low end, you get about 16,500 MK1. It looks like I will have 1,000 plus 525 plus 350. So I'll need to spend about 1,875 of this MK1 every time that I come to the store. So let's take 16,500 divided by 1,875. That'll take about 8.8 or 9 refreshes of this store in order to sell it out. I kind of wish that these numbers were just a little bit higher. Realistically, most players are not going to hit the store at every single refresh. Realistically, most players are not going to exist in a space where they're even going to buy chromium transistors. Most players are not going to buy a rhodium heat sinks unless they are desperate, specifically because the overall conversion is not good comparatively to just buying the gear to convert. I want my stuff a little bit faster. I do still think it is a very positive change. I do just wish that the quantities felt a little bit more impactful. One thing that I am not so happy about, though I maybe I'm more indifferent about here, is the inclusion of corrupted signal data here. I guess technically it is nice that you can do this without having to buy your own signal data, but in order to get to Relic 10, you are also going to need a ton of these materials as well. And I do feel like having that corrupted signal data there is going to obfuscate what you should buy. And it's kind of there as a trap, just like the Zetas are there as a trap as well. Again, nothing is telling me that I have to purchase that. But I do feel like when using legacy materials, there was maybe a better place to put that corrupted signal data, maybe even in the guild event store for MK2. And I say that because as you get into the end game and as you get to the point where you no longer need Kyrotech, or where, especially with lightspeed tokens now, there is a little bit less of a need for the MK2 finisher stuff for the players who are most likely to want to purchase um, Relic 10, having that for MK2 and at least give them something where they're not just buying materials randomly, which is kind of where I exist right now. I buy G12 gear fairly randomly just to get it out of my account because I don't really have much of a need for it. Now, going back again, we only talked about this briefly. I do know and I do recognize that this MK2 shift here has devalued and made it harder to decide for some players on whether or not they should be purchasing these items here anymore. And it puts a severe pressure on their MK2. And I had originally said, hey, CG said that the things in the Era shipment store are going to help you out a little bit. And when you give me a limited amount of tokens that say, hey, go from level 0 to Relic 5 and don't worry about it, that's all cool and good. But players don't have that level of patience. Players don't want to spend 500 levels, right? A free-to-play player, they are getting 10 per level. That's 500 upgrades they need to do. So 5,000 divided by 65 is where they can expect to get at the end of an era. 76 per times 6 characters. That's 461 or 4,600 and 10 currency here on top of the other currencies that those players are getting from Coliseum. You maybe are getting one or two upgrades that do feel very impactful, but they are going to happen extremely, extremely, extremely slowly for those players, right? I think that the monkey brain that exists within the player space of, hey, get this thing, get 5 of this thing, we're great, I feel good, I feel like I've gotten what I need to get, I'm happy, I'm making progress. It makes players happy. When you instead say to them, hey, you actually have to take a long time, you'll get a better upgrade, but it's going to take you a much longer amount of time. It does frustrate players, and I understand and I recognize that, and it does kind of suck. So all of that is to say that right now, as a casual spender, as someone who 2 years ago spent maybe $8 to $10 a month, and over the last year has spent more in the $20 to $50 a month range. And as someone who was actually like super, super stoked for this update and was like so ready for this update, and probably sadly would have dropped 100 or more yesterday just to kind of play with this system and have fun with it. I spent 30 on Chewbacca and my episode pass, and I feel kind of empty. I don't feel that same joy that I felt before playing the update. And I am going to be honest, looking at my guild Discord right now, uh, everybody in my guild was completely fine with Relic Delta. Everybody was like, hey, it's all right. No big deal. We might drop a little in GAC. We're ready to play. Coliseum's going to be fun. Uh, Between yesterday and today, I would say that about 30% of my guild has expressed sentiments of disappointment strong enough where they are considering quitting the game. Uh, that sucks. It sucks a lot because these are people that I've played this game with for a very long time. Um, and to know that Relic Delta was actually the big hurdle that we thought we would have to get through, and it's actually just the new game system itself is the hurdle that we have to get through. Um, I feel like I'm going to be spending a lot more time in game. I feel like that's going to be frustrating me. I feel like that is going to be frustrating other players. And that's problematic. And over the last couple of months, players have called me a CG shill. They have said a lot of really, well, I've gotten a lot of support too, but have said a lot of really negative things about me for being more positive on updates. And right now, I am really disappointed with what we've seen. I will say, however, that in the past, when it has come to updates like this, the first iteration of that update usually sucks. And I remain cautiously optimistic, not of the system itself right now, but that CG will use a lot of feedback over the next 2 weeks to hopefully make this an interesting update that we can all be positive on. Because right now it is a whale's playground. It is you either whale heavily or you don't play at all, you don't invest at all. And even the players that I know outside of one or two people, even the players I know who spend a lot of money feel very empty after having spent a lot of money yesterday. And I think that the amount of money that CG made yesterday may indicate to them that this is a very positive change, but it will not be a replicatable change for them in going forward with marquees. Uh, so, being Egnards, how can we fix this? How can we make this right? There are a couple things, and I don't think it'll make it fully right. You know, it's kind of hard when CG has months and months and maybe even a year or more on the system, and I have 24 hours, not even 12 hours, to decide how they should make it right. There are a couple things that I do think would be at least helpful, and that would be a start in the right direction. Number one, we need to sim these. These need to be simmable now. In the past, there have been marquees that I have not interacted with, that I have just not bothered putting crystals into because the battles were a slog. And it didn't really matter that much because I could get them on the back end. Now these characters are important and these battles are important. If you want me to invest my crystals here, I need to not be spending 20 minutes every day refreshing all of these battles. They need, they need, they need to be simmable. Make my life easier. Number two, this this era system here. I understand in the future we're supposed to be getting borrowed units. I don't really necessarily know what that means, other than these characters that we already have. But it really sucks to go into a battle with the weakest version of your character and needing to learn each level of your ability and how it changes your character. We have existed in a system for the last 9 years where, unless you were a brand new player, when a new character came out, you could pretty much bring them up to at least below the Omega level. right? And I don't even know where that is for him. I don't know if this is a Zeta or Omega, but you could at least bring them to highest level -1. Now, every time I play this Coliseum, I have to learn as this thing advances while learning 6 other kits. This needs to be changed. I think this level up system, make it just stat upgrades. In fact, make my life easier. You know how like GLs, they only have 2, maybe 3 tiers of each of their abilities. If we are going to change this era system so that when you finish an era, you you have your character and they're going to be at maxed level abilities or very close to max level abilities, there's no reason anymore for me to have 8 different tiers for my level. Make my life easier. Let's start out here. This is level 1 of my ability. Okay, somewhere around level 66, which would be the non-free-to-play tier, whatever it is. That's when I get my level 8. Boom, done. Now I have so much less that I have to learn about each character as I exist through the system. Now I can actually play with the characters on day 1, how they're intended to be played. Even if I still have to learn 6 kits, at least I am learning the abilities to their fullest and what those abilities truly, truly, truly do. Number 2, this whole gameplay loop of having to click this button, watch a small animation, go out, collect the thing, go play the level, come back here, press it one more time. It's not fun. It's not interesting. I don't have a solution, but it's not interesting. I know it feels simplified. I know it's like, hey, it's better than gear because I don't have to do all of these things and hit the 6 of that and do the 10 of this. But because I could save up a stockpile in the past, as long as I wasn't in the early game, I could do that all at once. I will never be able to do that all at once with these characters. It'll never happen. Something needs to be figured out there. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry, I don't. Coliseum, I honestly, I don't even really know what the answer is here. The game, maybe learning my characters on day 1 the way that they're meant to be played is interesting enough. But I feel like yesterday playing this Coliseum, I hit the battles and I got a bunch of invisible rewards that I didn't even know what they were, and they were able to upgrade my character one more time. It didn't feel rewarding to me. I need to feel like I am being rewarded pretty early on, and that my monkey brain can do the upgrades to come back here and then do it again. I didn't feel like doing 2 or 3 levels, which is realistically all I could do without dropping $30 or $40, gave me much of anything. Something needs to be solved here. I don't know what it is. I am happy with the scavenger. I love this, right? I don't love this as much, but I love this. This is super nice that I can play with this and I can have fun with that and I can deal with what I need to. That this is so great that I'm going to be able to exist in that Relic 9 system, and play with my characters a little bit more. Love it. Uh, Relic 10, I haven't done the math, but what I'm told is from very early on math that for a free-to-play or casual spending player, it is going to take between 30 and 40 weeks to earn a single Relic 10 character. That sucks. Like a lot. That's way, way worse than when Relic 9 first came out. Right? The whales, they could get things a lot easier because they could buy things with crystals and they were in better TW guilds. But at least after 2 or 3 months, I could say, hey, I got enough. If I want to apply a Relic 9, I can apply a Relic 9. And I feel like Relic 10, Relic 9 was such an issue. and it stuck around for 4 years because for the first 2 years, CG didn't really know how to make us have to do it. I feel like Relic 10 is going to be even worse. Yes, you're going to see a couple people in Maw and Caw who are going to be able to get that super, super fast, and they're going to have full Relic 10 rosters, and we're going to look at them in awe. And I'm going to get 1 or 2 a year, and I'm just going to hold them. Outside of my free one, who I'm going to apply on somebody for fun, I'm just going to hold them. Because CG is going to ask for me to do them later, and I'm going to want to be ready for that, and I'm not going to want to have to wait 30 to 40 weeks to be able to do that. Overall, I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I wish I had more answers. I wish that this was tested by the beta team. I wish that we got a chance to interact with Coliseum and play with it. I wish we got the chance to kind of give our feedback. What I think kind of happened was that revenue was probably down, and this system was thought up, and the idea of, hey, you know, the people who will buy things are going to buy anything, and let's just like heavily monetize it, and we're going to be unashamed about that. And I don't think it's working. I think that the system needs to exist in a place where players can play the game to upgrade systematically, and whales can exist in that place and say, hey, we are going to play that game, but we're going to do a little bit faster. The idea of playing this boss every 4 days and being like 4 levels higher and the number slightly higher, and ooh, that's going to trick my monkey brain. I'm going to be super happy about it. It's not doing it for me. It's just a chore. It's a chore that I've added to my other chores in the game. And because it's now also been added to my dailies, but I can only do 5 battles a day, but those 5 battles a day reset at 2 p.m. But everything else in my daily thing resets at my day reset. I now have to remember that when I normally reset at 2 p.m., not to do all of my refreshes so that I can do my dailies in the morning. It's gonna screw up my routine. I'm not thrilled about it. I'm not thrilled about my upcoming GAC match. I understand why players are upset. I am also upset. I don't know, guys. I don't know if this video is even helpful, but Daddy Egnards does feel like I'm probably going to be spending an extra 45 minutes a day in this game mode, at least during the first week a Marquee comes out. And the 3 minutes a day I save from not having to do GCs anymore does not make up for that at all. Like, even a little bit. I will reiterate as we finish this video. This is taking all of the parts of the new player experience that are the reason I don't do alts ever in any game, and telling me I have to do that again every 3 months. And knowing that makes me feel really frustrated. And knowing that makes me, you know, kind of reconsider my place in the game. And I'm going to give CG the time to try and fix it. And I am going to come up with more solutions, hopefully, to try and fix it. And, you know, I would love to say, hey, I want to do the math for this. Don't even want to. You know, when the community update came out, I was super excited, and there were these changes. They were bright, they were new. I was like, wait a second, let's figure this thing out, and let's figure it out for the community. Let's crack the code. Let's crack the puzzle. And it was fun. It was fun to sit there with my notepad, watching TV with my wife, and doing all the math and breaking down all the things. And it was time where I was like, all right, this is like really exciting. I don't want to do the math right now. Maybe someone else will do it. Maybe I'll do it. I don't know. Hopefully things change. Hopefully it doesn't take a month. Hopefully CG does not wait and make this take 3 months and they say, hey, this era system, we're doing this whole era the way that it is right now. Good luck, everybody. And the next one will be better, because I know a lot of players who will not sit through these 3 months. And it's a real shame, because I happen to know that a lot of players have been coming back over the last couple of weeks. And I happen to know that there has been a lot of players who've been like really super excited about making alts and starting new accounts. And I feel like this is 3 steps backwards. I, hopefully, I don't know if this is the video you guys expected from me, but hopefully something changes in the short term. And as always, while I don't have the solutions today, you know, my entire workday is going to be half thinking about work and half trying to come up with solutions here to make this more of a game, more fun. That's what we were told, right? Is that one of the core tenets was telling Star Wars stories, and one of the core tenets was having fun with the game, and one of the invisible tenets is business and making money, and that's fine. I don't care. Make bajillions of dollars. I don't care. Your business, you got to do that. I understand that. Sap all of my money. But if you want to sap all of my money, you got to make it really fun for me to be able to sap all of my money. So hopefully, you guys, even though this was a rant, see this as me trying to be fair here. I will say my final thought, last thought, promise. Episode track, episode pass, new era level currency in the top level. A lot more stuff here in the bottom free to play level. This is kind of cool. This is neat. Excited for this. I love it. That's great. But overall, not even meh. Kind of like, do I want to log on later? Anyway, whether you're happy about the update or not happy about the update, I would like to hear your thoughts, because when I come up with solutions, it is generally off of the thoughts of hundreds and hundreds of people and trying to compile them into a smart way, on top of my own ideas. So please let me know on Discord and in the comments. And peace out. Have a great rest of your day.